Trump has renamed the U.S. Department of Defense to the Ministry of War. Is the U.S. ready to go to war? Mikhail Shuфутинsky has received a Russian passport. The Russian actress Oglaya Tarasova was detained at Domodedovo airport. Apparently, it was drug-related. In the so-called DPR, complaints have been made about the residents of the DPR. They are asking to punish people who complain to Putin about the lack of water. Peskov is against blocking messengers in Russia. Lunatic just isn't the same anymore. He's quoting Danila Bagrov from Brother 2. Hello everyone, my name is Yulia Kort and this is the In Trend program. Every day we bring you the latest news, show interesting videos and debunk fakes. Mr. Trump signed an order to rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War. The White House and now the U.S. Department of War responded to the agency's name change with Kolozom and video. Trump also commented on Putin's war. He said the war in Ukraine will end, or there will be a price to pay for it.
We're going to finish another war, but it turned out to be a bit more complicated than I thought. But it will be finished, otherwise there will be a very high price to pay.
Russian actress Oglaya Tarasova was detained at Domodedovo airport, allegedly with drugs. They say that new vaping was found with hashish oil when she arrived from Israel. A criminal case has been initiated under the article Drug Trafficking, as stated in a Telegram channel. She was subjected to certain restrictions until November 3rd in connection with the drug trafficking case. The court released the actress from custody right in the courtroom. Until November 3rd, she is prohibited from using any means of communication. And she is not allowed to leave her home from midnight to 6 a.m. The investigation is requesting that Tarasova be placed under house arrest for the drug trafficking case. She faces up to 7 years in prison. Most likely it was a vape with CBD. It is quite popular in various countries, even in Ukraine. This is a natural substance derived from hemp plants that does not have psychoactive properties. Its key properties are pain-relieving and anti-inflammatory effects, which help reduce pain, ease conditions related to nervous tension, promote relaxation and support the nervous system, reduce stress and anxiety, and improve sleep quality. Its antioxidant protection shields cells from damage and supports brain activity. Remember how many celebrities in the Russian Federation have been caught up in scandals like this, but they had much more serious substances with them, including cocaine. Obviously, the investigation will sort all of this out. I want to remind you that Oglaya Tarasova, the daughter, is the same person whose performances were cancelled in several Russian cities because of her anti-war stance. It seems that Russia is tired of the war and the desecration of the graves of soldiers from the special military operation happens regularly across the country. In the latest videos, we see the Vologda region and a cemetery in the Orenburg region.
At the cemetery, all the guys who were with the special military operation, all their graves have been desecrated, all of them. Here are fresh graves, such bastards.
Who could have possibly done this? Everything in this entire place is completely scattered and everything is utterly torn up and destroyed.
Popular affection, recognition and respect are not automatically granted when signing a contract. Putin smiles at the forum while his people die for money. At the same forum, the head of Sberbank, Herman Gref, cautiously hinted at something. Russia's economy has entered stagnation. According to him, the second quarter is already at zero, and July and August confirm this trend. But Putin, as always, sees everything his own way. Lending is ongoing, inflation is low, and growth rates will be maintained.
Do you actually agree with that?
No.
All right, German Oscarovich, for now, that's how it is.
He knows we're in constant contact. He participates in all our many meetings, including those I hold with the government at the central bank.
Well, yes, and 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline, which in economics is called a recession, apparently counts as a special kind of growth in Putin's dictionary. So the economy is in the red, but their president insists that everything is wonderful? And now, the best part for today. Every country will be begging to have sanctions imposed against it. This was blurted out by Putin's advisor Oreshkin because supposedly sanctions stimulate economic development. If
we look at the massive sanctions that have been imposed on the Russian Federation and to what extent this has stimulated innovation and overall development, this property of anti-fragility, then I think the result is absolutely clear, and it amazes not only
the external component
observers but even Russian economists.
Every country in the global majority will simply be asking for sanctions to be imposed against it because we see this positive effect that this process brings.
How funny it is to see and hear all this, knowing that the economy is not actually being stimulated. Russia, under the guise of import substitution, has simply replaced everything that left with Chinese goods. That's the whole secret. So what do you think? Write your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything interesting. Mikhail Shuфутинsky really surprised everyone. He received a Russian passport. No, I didn't make a mistake, that's correct. It turns out that the native Muscovite didn't have this document at all. In the early 1980s, he moved to the United States with his family, and a few years later he returned to Russia. He continued to travel regularly to America, where his wife lived. And after her death, he even bought a cottage in Philadelphia. By the time the USSR collapsed, he already had an American passport. And Shuфутинsky didn't want to give it up. Of course he didn't. It was difficult to obtain dual citizenship. So the singer remained without a Russian passport all this time. And when Putin launched a full-scale war against Ukraine in 2020, Shuфутинsky decided to become that very Russian. So Putin got himself another sycophant. Well, this American Shuфутинsky apparently also decided to get passports from Rafia. The controversial American rapper Rick Ross, founder of the label Maybach Music, who has been accused of drug and weapons possession as well as kidnapping, arrived in Moscow. And now he has performed at the club of Putin supporter Timati. They say that in the Russian capital, he was getting around in a Rolls-Royce and stayed at a hotel with a view of Red Square. In the so-called DNR, a local People's Council deputy complained about the residents of the DNR. And at the same time, the head of the United Russia faction, Skorokodov, asked the investigative committee to look into the people who recorded a video appeal to Putin and Bastrikin because of the lack of water in the city.
Residents of the Donetsk People's Republic are addressing our president, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, as well as the head of the investigative committee, Alexander Ivanovich Bastrikin.
The residents directly stated that local officials were to blame for the problems and demanded their removal. But Skorokodov called all of this a lie and an attempt to destabilize the situation. He also explained that people are without water because of the war and that the authorities currently have more important tasks. For example, dealing with hazardous trees. And according to the deputy, those who accuse officials of incompetence are working in the interests of third parties.
Everything in this statement is a lie. Just show me. Simply yes. Give me the facts and I'll explain it to you. So there's no need for these manipulations either. It's a difficult time. And I'll say it again. Yes, the appeal to Bastrikin was from you, from me, as the head of the United Russia faction in the People's Council of the Donetsk People's Republic. There was also an appeal to the investigative committee. I ask you to look into this statement, to check everything, and to give a full assessment, because in my opinion, this statement is a complete lie. And with the help of this lie, such individuals are trying to stir up and destabilize the situation inside the country so that it benefits, I don't know, some third parties. This is something the investigative authorities need to figure out.
So if you don't have water, it's not the officials who are to blame, but your faucet, because it's collaborating with NATO. Residents of Donetsk and people from nearby cities have been complaining about the lack of water or weak pressure and poor quality since 2022. Since July 21st, 2025, water has been supplied to residents about once every 3 days. Long lines for water are forming all over Donetsk.
People are collecting water. Water is flowing everywhere, just not where it's needed. This is how people collect water. Intriguing music.
The Kremlin Kremlin is sending water trucks from other regions to the city, but with so many people, it's not enough. Listen to how, after the pseudo-referendum, the now-deceased militant leader in Donetsk, Zakharchenko, speculated about what life would be like there in a decade. How do you see the future of the Donetsk People's Republic, say, in 10 years? Thank you.
I think that in 10 years we will all be proud to live in the Donetsk People's Republic. And our children and grandchildren will be proud of this as well. It will be a flourishing, prosperous, happy and smiling place. A wonderful state that we must build together with you.
It would be symbolic to put a small screen by every Donetsk water barrel and play that video on a loop as a reminder of the unfulfilled promises of propaganda. A month-long contract service turned into a lifetime disability for two 19-year-old conscripts. In the first video, they are laughing, joking, and filming a segment in uniform. In the second, just a month later, they are already in wheelchairs and without legs.
Russia, what kind of subscriber am I supposed to be? Subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button below.
The optimism remains, but the legs are gone. And as cynical as it may sound, this is actually a relatively easy outcome. These guys, instead of a prosthesis, are forced to make their own walking devices. Crutches made from whatever they could find. This is what the special military operation is like. And by the way, the joke about volunteers collecting underwear for soldiers is not a joke at all.
Nice underwear. Marvelin, thanks. I'll pass them on to the guys, all of them to me. Lenul, that's it. We'll give your underwear to the boys right now. Let them change as often as possible. Maybe they will. Are you passing them on, Andriush? Yes, of course, I'll pass them on. Alright, nice underwear.
Even Peskov, a dedicated Apple fan, cautiously spoke out against the proposed blocking of messengers in the Russian Federation, under the guise of effectively fighting financial fraud.
I just don't understand what the difference is between the Russian one and, say, Telegram. I don't understand what the difference is. I don't understand the context of these discussions.
Uncomfortable, isn't it, Putinists? It already seems to me that even they are just waiting for their old man to kick the bucket. The Ministry of Digital Development has presented a preliminary whitelist of resources that will remain accessible when the internet is shut off, thanks to a special technical solution. During periods of mobile internet restrictions, social networks, marketplaces, navigation apps, taxi services, delivery services, supermarkets, personal accounts, and telecom operators will continue to function. The official website, the MIR payment system, the websites of the government and the presidential administration of the Russian Federation and the federal remote electronic voting platform. Well, naturally. And also the telecom operators Beeline, Megafon, MTS, Rostelecom and T2. The Gosuslugi services, though they barely work even with the internet. Vkontakte, Odnoklasniki, Mail.ru, Max, well, you can't do without him either. Yandex services, Ozon, Wildberries, Avito, and also the main propaganda platforms, Zen and RuTube. Well, this is a children's holiday in Russia. Luntik fell from the moon and suddenly started quoting Danila Bagrov from Brother 2. Everything is done to instill traditional values so that children become patriots from a young age and hate the West. Did you not become stronger? No, I didn't. Because the truth isn't on your side. And the one you deceived, he has the truth. So he's stronger.
Yeah? Yeah?
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.